Welcome into the Project Game Day post-game show. We don't have everybody yet, but we're just going to go ahead and start because it's 11:20 and we imagine some of you want to go to bed. I'm Glenn, he's KZ. The show is brought to you by AJ Michaels, Superbook Sports, and helpmygamblingproblem.org. Remember that if you or a loved one has a gambling problem, you can call 1-800-GAMBLER or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org for free confidential services. Ravens will improve to 11-3 on the season, and they will remain the number one seed in the AFC with a huge Christmas night showdown with the 49ers looming. Ken, it wasn't pretty in the first half, and it got nervy for a second in the second half. But what I would say about this one is there was no moment where there was any real, serious jeopardy, I guess. I don't think there was ever a moment where I said, I'm terribly concerned the Ravens aren't going to win this game.
Uh, no, I'm going to disagree a little bit with you there. 10-7, they just hit the long pass to Agnew.
Right.
The first half, they shot themselves in the foot. I thought they truly, in many aspects, outplayed the Ravens in the first half. So for me, when they connected that, I'm like, oh, great. It's only going to take a play or two. And if they continue to what we saw in the first half, I was a little bit more concerned at that point. But the Ravens made some adjustments, which they don't we're critical of sometimes, but especially defensively, they shut down the run from that point on. They were struggling a little bit early on with that. They started to get more pressure, dial up some more pressure on Lawrence, which we really didn't see a whole lot of in the first half. And then they got the run game going and the drive, where unfortunately, the one of the big stories coming out of this is going to be, the injury to Keaton Mitchell, who once again showed that he was the best running back on the football team, averaging over 8 yards a carry. And they committed to him and they essentially drove the ball straight down the field. Um,
Yeah.
and again, they're still on the broadcast. If you're watching a broadcast and listening at the same time watching us, they're still boo-hooing about the non-TD
I don't cares about that.
with
Okay.
Ridley again, and what this game could have been with that. But again, I was a little bit more concerned. But at the end of the day, look, this defense gave up 7 points on the road to a Jacksonville Jaguar team that's leading their division, and a lot of people think is a for sure playoff appearance team. And they dealt with some injuries tonight as well. Ronnie Stanley went out with I guess they're going to call it a concussion, but he wasn't particularly good when he was in today. They struggled again
I
with.
think they're calling it a concussion because it was, Ken. I don't
Well,
think they,
no, 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 no.
yeah.
I don't.
I
No.
don't,
Well,
I
they
don't think
said
they're
the last
feigning
time
that
I
he has a
saw. No,
concussion.
the last thing. What I meant was the last thing I heard is what he was going in to be evaluated for it.
Well,
I
they
never
showed the
heard.
play. I mean, there was clearly head-to-head contact, and then he went
But
down. That was why they pulled
but
him off the
again, they
field.
struggled. Some of the things we've talked about in previous weeks. And again, people are going to look 23-7 on the road. Jacksonville's nothing to complain about. And at the end of the day, there really isn't. But they still struggled, with their offensive line early on with a solid pass rush from Jacksonville. Lamar is Lamar and gets out of those things and got away with a ill-advised pass that likely made a great adjustment too. That kind of turned everything around for the team.
I am blown away by how you managed to take a 23-7 game and try to turn it into a complete downer. I'm
I'm
blown
not.
away
I'm
by
not that.
read,
Well, I'll
read
be. I'll be perfectly honest. I am just sick to my soul.
well, the Keaton Mitchell thing sucks. Nobody's going to argue
I
about
mean,
that.
like,
It sucks.
literally suck the entire air. I'm watching with my son who's home from college, and it just sucked the air out of the room. It's like, you're kidding me, right? Like,
No, it's awful. Nobody's
uh,
disagreeing about that.
and so it's tough for me to say. Like I said, I mean, it's 23-7 on the road against a team that's going to probably win their division. there's still some things that as you go into the playoffs, and this is, now we can start saying that for sure because they've qualified for the playoffs.
Yes,
That they go
we just
into
got the notification. They are
Yeah.
playoff eligible
They are
now.
playoff bound, but there are still some things that we've talked about in the previous weeks that they're a concern, and one of those things is the offensive line and dealing with really good pass rushers,
All right.
and they struggled tonight with that again.
All right. I've let you go on a rant
Well, I
here.
was the only one here.
We'll bring in Reeta. Reeta is here. Reeta
Hi,
is with
Rita.
us. Reeta, my point was I never, again, while it got hairy for a second, I never genuinely believed the Ravens weren't going to end up winning the game. And I add to that with the caveat being the Keaton Mitchell thing sucks. Like it
Yeah,
sucks. I
very badly.
I absolutely in no way come away from this game feeling like you have to somehow apologize for this or that this wasn't a particularly good win or anything along those lines. Like, I think this was a really good win and a really solid performance all around. Yes, as we've talked about all season, the team's imperfect, but everyone's imperfect, save for a few minutes for the 49ers when they have all their guys on the field.
Right. It's first and foremost, I would like to say that on the Winning Drive podcast, as well as the Gridiron Gals podcast, I said that the Ravens would win by at minimum 2 scores. I always felt like that they were not going to allow the Jaguars to get into this game. Shout out to my mama who don't know how to work.
Yeah, your mom's here.
Yeah, Ma, turn your camera off. Nobody wants to see you. So anyway, so I had them winning by 2 scores. I felt like that this was a game. You know why though, Glenn, KZ, and Andrew? I felt that way because I feel like every time we get pumped up for a team like the Detroit Lions or the Seattle Seahawks, and everybody gets all scared. I'm like, usually those are the games that the Ravens find a way to show up for. What I really liked today was, y'all know I've been complaining about what Monken is going to do in situations where the pass rushers are winning the battle against the tackles, right? And this is a situation where they kept talking about, well, they have the, 4th best run defense or whatever. But what he said, I don't care about any of that. We're better when we do our thing as opposed to when they do their thing. And he allowed them to do what they do best, which is run the football. And in the past, I've felt like they never really had a rhythm. You know what I'm saying? In the past, it feels like every time they get into a rhythm of something, then they do something different, and I'm led to scratch my head. This time, he allowed himself to call the plays based on what it is that they were giving him. They didn't make it cute. They didn't make it fancy. Hey, we're able to run the football. We're going to keep running the football. That's what happened. And essentially, that to me, that's the bigger story, because all I kept hearing all week long was about how great this run defense is. But when you look at the size of them up front, they're not that big. So one of the things the Ravens do best is they run block very well. So I'm just glad that he stuck with the game plan of, once they realized that they were able to run against them, they didn't get cute and try to do too much down the field, because that stuff wasn't working. He didn't have a whole lot of time. You know what I'm saying? But running the ball was effective.
Other than what he was buying for himself, obviously.
Right. Outside. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Other than what he was doing, right?
Yep.
If Lamar Jackson is not Lamar Jackson, this is probably a worse night than we saw, right?
Mm-hmm.
But doing what they allowed you to do, which was basically run it down their throats. They have had over 200 yards on the ground tonight. I love that, because that's what I want to see. I want to see the continuity of, let's do what works, but also knowing that when you have pass rushers, when you have guys that are really good at what they do up front, run right at them. And that's what I appreciated from Monken tonight. And Lamar, this was going to have to be a game that Lamar was going to have to take over. This was going to be one of those games where he had to be a part of running the football essentially all 4 quarters, not just in the 4th, not just in the half. He had to do it all 4 quarters, and he rose to the occasion. So shout out to him for saying that. I know I got to do my part in this. This is going to be an ugly game. If they're going to give us the run, then I got to do my part too. So I'm just really glad that they stuck to home with what it is that worked for them, and stuck with that and got continuity from that.
Rita, to your point, Jonas Schaefer just shared this stat. The Ravens' second half rushing attack, 30 carries, 204 yards.
Yep.
And a touchdown in the second half. Speaking of running the ball, our Super Bowl champion, Femi Ayanbadejo, is with us. Femi, let's just get your takeaways. What jumped out at you most about this game?
Well, you know, it's funny. At halftime, me and Josh were texting, and I said at halftime, they just need to run the ball. That's all they need to do. And I felt like Reeta hit a lot of the real good high points. They were not protecting Lamar early. The tackles did not play well early. But you know what, though? Jacksonville was playing for their damn lives tonight. And I commend this team on a road win against a team that they blew a big lead against last year. And a lot of people were thinking, like, here we go again. I know for a fact they were, because I was getting texts all night about it. I was like, I'm not feeling great about it. But Keaton Mitchell, Lamar, my goodness. Lamar's, like, you got to watch this man play to respect what he does, because it's not going to be in the stat sheet. The way he is able to escape, buy time, his elusiveness. And yeah, maybe he's not as fast as he used to be, but that doesn't matter, because he has a way of leading by example and just buying time. And Isaiah Likely, my goodness, that man, I need to do a shot with that guy.
That boy's got the dog in him, man.
Tequila with him for sure. On me, whatever he wants.
He been talking to Mandrews, it seems. I feel like he been talking to Mandrews.
Yeah, and I'll tell you right now, early on, my issue was the run defense again. Like, I've been having an issue lately ever since Cleveland. I've been having an issue with the interior run defense. But you know what's crazy? Something clicked later in the game. They just decided, okay, we're about to start doing our thing now. Like, we're going to start showing up now. Like, it was odd to me. It just felt disjointed. It reminded me a little bit, and not quite as drastic, but it's these Florida games at night, like the Miami game when Miami just went zero coverage the whole game and the Ravens couldn't do anything a couple years ago. It didn't feel like that, but I was like, man, I don't know where this game is going to go. Now, this is a much better, more complete team, but it's hard to forget those that trauma. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, it's hard to forget that past stuff. But this is such a good football team, and I give credit to these guys, because when it really mattered, they found a way to get it done. And I can tell you, I was definitely concerned about the disjointedness of the offense and the way that Jacksonville moved the ball down the field. I mean, they got inside the 40-yard line on all 4 of their first possessions, and they got no points. Like, I mean, that's unheard of. I don't know what the stat is on that, but I'm going to bet you that that's a very weird to have 180 yards at halftime and no points. They got greedy. They got thirsty. And they had a chance to kick a field goal, but they wanted a touchdown. Well, too bad on them. We've been there. We know what that feels like, right? But
nobody told them to not spike the ball and throw it to Kyle Hamilton at that.
I'm happy they were out there doing some college stuff. Good job. But you know, at the end of the day, today was such a crazy day, a day of football games. So many teams were fighting for their lives, and I had that same sense with Jacksonville tonight. It was like their last gasp effort on securing potentially the AFC South, and now they're in a 3-way tie. And I know they have the tiebreaker against Houston and Indianapolis, but they're in a dogfight now, and they were trying to avoid that by trying to win this game. And they gave their best last gasp effort to do it. And I felt like we just stayed we weren't always composed, because there were some dumbass penalties again. You know what I'm saying? Like it's one thing to be committed. It's another thing to be disciplined. I love your commitment, but I want your discipline. That's the difference between winning a championship and being in a playoff game. Commitment versus discipline. And at certain times tonight, in the first half of the game, I don't remember what lineman it was when he headbutted that dude and that dude did that flop.
John Simpson.
I'm like, come on, man. You can't be, that's selfish. You know what I mean? Like, luckily we were able to overcome it. And we find ways to overcome our own mistakes sometimes, because we're Ravens. I know what that means. Play like a Raven means something. I always talk about the culture, right? And I'm just proud of these guys. And I'm not going to say anything like over the top, crazy, negative, because I don't think I need to. I think it's about winning football games in December. And the Ravens are doing that right now. And I don't want to breeze over this game, but they went down there and did what they had to do. But they're about to walk into the Monsters' house as underdogs. I love it when we're dogs. Into San Francisco on Christmas Day. Oh my God. Take my money. I cannot wait for that. That's all I'm thinking about right now. I don't give a damn about what happened this week. I don't give a damn about what happened last week. They did what they had to do. They found a way to get it done. They're a complete football team. And I'm just excited for them. They've managed to put their destiny in their own hands. And yes, you guys know me. At the end of the day, I'm an analyst. I critique at the highest level, but I'm not doing that tonight. I'm not doing that tonight. I refuse to do that tonight. It's
All
about
right.
what's in front of them. It's not about what's behind them. And I've been on here and I've said I've been as hard on this team as anybody can be when I didn't agree with something, but I give them as much love as anybody does when they do it right. And I don't care how it went down tonight. They did it right. I'm just proud of them.
All right. I want to go to both Andrew and Josh because they jumped on and I want to get their thoughts. But I just want to back up something you said, Femi, because what you said about Lamar, like the statistics, I'm looking at the numbers right now. 14 to 24, 268 yards of total offense, 1 touchdown and 1 pick. And yet every single one of us that watched that game would say that was like a Heisman moment tonight.
Yes,
like that
absolutely.
was an MVP moment. And the numbers in no way
Never show it.
can define that. Like you can't possibly just show someone his numbers and say this was a night that proved that Lamar Jackson is worthy of being at the in that top conversation for MVP.
But anybody that watches will say that he is.
Yep.
You know?
1,000%. We all saw it. We all saw the reason why Lamar Jackson, because a couple of those plays, there just aren't other human beings that are capable of making those plays. Yeah, go ahead, Reeta. Yeah.
Real quick before you get Josh and Andrew on, I just want to say that look, what we saw from Keaton Mitchell tonight, obviously it hurts, but the most important thing is having 8 still available right now down the stretch. That's to me, yes, it's Keaton a huge loss, sure, but as long as your starting quarterback, as long as Lamar Jackson is still on the field, I don't give a damn who getting the ball. I mean, look, I had a premonition like, oh Lord, I think if it's bad, Melvin Gordon getting called up. Oh, but listen, I don't even care. I don't care. As long as Lamar is on the field, they will be okay. As much as I love Keaton Mitchell, I think that he's a phenomenal player. And if he's lost for a long period of time, that is extremely unfortunate. I don't feel nearly as bad as if it was Lamar that was not out there. So look, I just think that the Ravens will be fine. When it comes to running the football, they do it better than anybody. And they can plug and play. And Justice Hill still there, still doing this thing. I know, Femi, I know.
No,
they just
okay.
can't do the.
They don't run zone. They haven't been running zone read. They haven't really been running
as long as they don't do that.
Miss it. Yeah, they're fine. But Justice, Reeta, to his credit, he's balling too though.
Yep.
But Keaton is special though, man. Like me and Josh were texting, and like it broke my heart because I think he might have tore his ACL. I'm just gonna keep it real.
I think so too.
It was definitely a hyperextension, but he's young and bendy. And it's hard to say sometimes with these dudes that are built like him. He could be fine. We don't know yet. We're going to find out tomorrow probably. But he is the kind of guy that you can go into San Francisco with and probably win a football game. You can go into a Super Bowl or you can play an AFC championship game. And maybe you're not the number 1 seed. Hopefully you are. But he's the dude that like you put it in his hands and he just changes everything. It just bums me out.
It's tough.
You know what I mean?
It's real. It hurts like hell. All right, let me go to Andrew because he was on first. So Andrew, you're up next. Just your big picture.
A lot of what Femi said. It's a job done. I mean, that's all that matters. You went down. You got a really tough road win against I hate using the word contender, but they are. I mean, they're likely to be a playoff team, and this was almost more important than next week just because it's in conference and I hate to, I'm not going to try and dismiss next week because next week is really, it's going to be cool to see the only 2 teams with
the heavyweight title fight.
It is, but also at the same time, if they go next week and lose, it doesn't really matter because they're still going to be in this
if they beat Miami the following week, right?
Well, that's what I mean.
Well, look at Miami's schedule though, too. By the way,
correct, and that's kind of what I'm getting to.
They play Dallas next week, I believe, right?
No matter what happens next Monday night, the following week is going to be that much more important. And I guess my big takeaway is the Keaton Mitchell thing sucks no matter what. But next week is going to be cool, but it's almost like a bowl game to me. Like it's one of those, like, it's going to be fun to watch, but come out of it healthy and fight like hell against Miami, because that is going to be the thing that you want. And I know Reeta had the point last week and in the previous weeks that the bye doesn't really want the bye. I want that bye. And look, the reason
I know it's an unpopular opinion.
Well, it's not even just that it's unpopular. The Keaton Mitchell thing is the reason you want to buy. You want
Yeah, that's fair.
you want less chances for things like that to happen. And just what you're talking about with number 8, as long as number 8's upright, like
Yeah.
one less
The
one
buys
less
are-
chance.
Yeah, you
One
want the
less
buy, you
chance
can
for
get it.
him. Yeah, one less chance for him to not be
That's fair. That's
upright
absolutely fair.
is what
And
I want.
50% of
That's what I
teams that are the number 1 seed make it to the Super Bowl. 50%. Let's get our emotions out of it. Let's let 2019 go. I'm not going to say names, but I hear people talking about 2019. It was one time. Let's get past it. Like, it doesn't matter anymore. Like,
This ain't
those
even
people,
the same team. This ain't even the
it's different
same
people.
team.
Yeah, it's like, let's let that go. I've heard so many people, and I've heard people with like literal microphones and podcasts saying they don't want to buy. I'm like, are you out of your damn mind? It's a free game.
Yeah.
It's a game you don't have to
It's
play.
a
Why
free
would
advancement
you're
into the
risking
next
what you're
round.
risking on this idea of momentum? That's a psychological thing. I guarantee you, every dude in that locker room wants to buy because you don't. It's a game you don't have. You're not going to lose. You're already in the next round. Like, it makes no sense to me.
I'm
gonna drop
guilty.
that bomb.
I'm
and-
definitely
I'm gonna
guilty
drop
of the
that bomb and dip and
psychological.
let.
You can call. You just
I'm gonna
called
drop
me
that
out.
bomb and dip, you guys. 'cause
Love
I
you,
got an
Andrew.
early
Good to
morning,
see you,
so.
buddy.
Bye,
Thanks for
Andrew.
stopping in. Good to see you, pal. Yeah, Rita. I made Rita
Maybe I
defend
had to
it.
call me out like that.
Yeah, I made Rita defend it in front of Tyus the other night, and what I did appreciate about Rita is she did say, and I think that a few other people felt this way too. The Orioles also have an impact. Like,
No, you
part
don't
of
give a
it
damn
is.
about that. They're not
I,
connected. I don't
I
give a damn
know,
about
I
that.
know. It's
I
the
don't care.
emotion. It's emotional.
It
It's
is
emotional,
emotional.
Femi. That's what it is.
It's nonsensical. Let's be real. It's like
Hey,
someone's gonna say, I'm gonna give you $100, or you can fight for $100. Wait, you're just gonna give it to me, or I can fight for it. No, okay, I'll just take it. Like, no, I
Call me
don't want to fight.
nonsensical, Femi. Did you just call me nonsensical?
I didn't call you nonsensical. I said the idea is nonsensical. You want to.
Josh, hit your unmute button. I'm coming to you next, buddy. Josh Charles. Big takeaways from tonight. What's up, pal?
I mean, I'm really upset about Mitchell just because I feel for the kid. It's just such a great story this year. It's just so beautiful. And I was texting with Femi. I was like, this game is just so brutal, man. It's just so brutal. These guys deserve every cent they can get. That kid, I mean, his look, giving the thumbs up to the fans. I mean, he wasn't as emotional as you would expect. So maybe Femi's right. Maybe there's something, I don't know, right? He's bendy. He knows he's an athlete. It looked bad to me. But I think he gives you that. He gives you what we were missing with JK, right? He gives you that sort of burst. He gives you that one run that he made to the right, and he realized the blocking wasn't there. He went left and got 30 yards. I mean, he's just an exciting player. He gave us that sort of burst of energy we needed. So I'm upset about that, and I was saying to Femi, I agree. I'm so happy we're 11-3. We're leading the league in the AFC, but all these games feel like slugfest. It's just, I feel drained after all of them. Even like with all these great moves, I feel drained as a fan. And I'm excited next week to see what we got too. I mean, we're great as dogs, great as road dogs. And we'll go out there and we'll fight. I wish we had that little guy Mitchell with us because I love the story. I love his dad. I love him. And that's heartbreaking. Every team's dealing with it. And we've certainly had our share, but that one really hurt me because I just love that kid's story. I thought he was really helping us on the offense. That was my big takeaway.
And Josh, not just the story is one of the coolest stories in modern Ravens history, but a step beyond that, he's just an effing good football player.
No, he's fantastic. He's fantastic. He's just got that burst, and that speed, and also just the instincts. Like that play I mentioned. I mean, that was huge. I mean, that play was designed. He was going right. He just instinctively just said, "No, I'm going this way," and he just felt it. And he got, what did he get? Like 25 yards on that or something, Femi? I mean, that was a pretty.
And even on the play he got hurt on, Josh, like he was about to step out on that one. The dude just flipped his leg and he hyperextended his knee. Like he was about to be gone on that play.
It was a big game. Yep.
He doesn't need much space.
My other big takeaways, and then I'll let everybody else talk because I just want to listen tonight. I'm a little toasted right now. I've been drinking, but I'll be honest with you.
What are we on tonight, Josh? What is the?
No, we had some gin and tonics, and we had a big Modelo because it was the kids all went to bed early. Now I got to go make pancakes for them for tomorrow, so I don't have to get up so early. But a couple things. First of all, and I tweeted this out. You got to give mad respect to Lamar for dressing like he was in Lambeau in December in Jacksonville with 58-degree weather. That South Florida blood is thin and real as F. I love him.
Little bit of rain and wind. Little bit of rain and wind.
And then my other takeaway is Can somebody tell Terry McCullough to have a Coke and a smile and shut the F
Oh
up,
my
please?
God,
Because he
please.
needs to just settle himself down.
Wow.
I mean,
He was off
okay,
the chart.
dude. I don't, that was not that clear and obvious. I don't know
No.
why he felt the need to just sort of put his sort of flag in the and die on that hill. But those are my other takeaways. It was a gritty win. I mean, look, we went, we did it. I love T-Law. We didn't get any pressure on him. That worried me. The lack of pressure. We got it when we needed it at the end, and Mike dialed it up, and Justin stepped up. But for the most part of the game, we didn't get any pressure, and we were getting run on a lot. And those are concerning to me going into San Francisco just as a fan, because you got Christian McCaffrey, you got Debo, you got a lot of different things to look toward. And I'm worried about our offensive line against their D line. But I still, I'm still ready. I think John will get him ready. I mean, I'm sure Ken feels differently, but John will get him ready. And that's all
He'll
I
get
gotta
him
say
ready.
for the night.
He'll get him ready.
He had to do it. He had to do it. Josh couldn't help himself. Hey, what company has the expertise and technology to make your home substantially more energy efficient, comfortable, and even virus free? It's AJ Michaels Heating and Air Conditioning in Baltimore and Annapolis at ajmichaels.com. I'm going to get Troy and my guy Randy Morgan. I'm going to get to him too, because you guys don't know it, but he's actually been our ombudsman all season long. Whenever we get something wrong, he messages me and lets me know, and I appreciate that. So I'm going to get to him in a second. But I want to run through a couple of things with you guys that were just on my list to get to during the show. Femi, I want to get your thoughts on, in the tush push situation, the direct snap to Charlie Kolar. And my first thought is, wow, that's really smart, right? Like, why run the risk of your quarterback getting hurt in a pile in a tush push situation? Why not take a bigger guy, let him be the one to fall forward because he's a little bit closer? I guess the flip side argument is it's a player that's not as used to taking snaps. So there is some risk to maybe like there being a snap issue and a fumbled snap in that spot. But what do you think of them going away from Lamar in those tush push situations and instead of having Charlie Kolar under center?
Well, remember Pat Mahomes got hurt doing something like that. Remember?
Yep.
And it wasn't a direct snap. It was an under center snap, just to be technical. There's a difference between a
fair. That's fair. That's correct. That's true. Thank you.
And just so you know, anytime you see a gadget play or something new, they run that stuff for weeks before they put it out on the field. So I think it's a good idea. I mean, it's a problem if it gets messed up, obviously. People are going to be like, what are you doing? You haven't done that all year? And yeah, people are going to do that. But teams don't just throw something new out there out of the blue and just go on the sideline and with whiteboard and a dry.
Yeah, let's imagine something here, right?
That's not what they do. They've been practicing this. So I think it's a good idea, and it worked. You know what I mean? So good for them. And I think it's smart. Why put Lamar at risk? Lamar has clearly gone out of his way to protect himself this year. You see it. There were times today where he could have just like put it into like sixth gear and taken off like a Ferrari, but he's not doing that. He's looking around. He's like 80% the whole time. Cautious, looking around, going down. And hey, guess what? I don't have a problem with it at this point because I'm used to seeing it. And I understand the macro analysis that goes into that. And you know how much self-control and discipline it takes to not do what he's done his whole life? This is the first year that he's really geared it down and said, you know what? I need to be available every play, every day, every game. And he's sacrificed statistics and glean and glitter and flash to be available. That is the epitome of being committed and disciplined. Like I told you, there's a difference between commitment and discipline. Lamar's committed and he's disciplined. There's a lot of people that talk about being committed, but they're not disciplined. And I love that about Lamar, and I like the play call. I know you didn't ask me for all that extra, but
no, I love the thought. I want to build on that too, because we brought up go ahead, Reeta. Go ahead. Yeah.
Harbaugh confirmed he will miss the rest of the season with a significant knee injury.
Damn.
So
yeah,
that's what it is. For the move, but I saw the report, so looks like the worst.
ACL or quadriceps tendon for sure.
Yep.
I mean, it sucks. There's no way around that. It sucks. There's just nothing else to say.
He's so explosive. He's so unique. He's so dynamic. He has like, and I don't want to exaggerate it because he's not a receiver, but he's got like that Debo ability. You know what I mean? Like what Debo is for the Niners, the way they just give it to him on the perimeter and let him just do his thing. it's more truncated than that, and it's smaller than that. But he's a rookie, undrafted free agent. Look at what he's doing, what he's done in such a short time. Debo was a second round draft pick. You know what I mean? And he's a totally different human in the way he does it, but his effect is the same for his team. You know what I mean? It just bums me out so much. I want to cuss so bad right now, but I'm not going to, Glenn, because last week you said we didn't tone it down.
Every now and then it's okay. Just we don't want to do the string of it. That's what I was told.
Okay, all right, it's all good. I'm gonna be a grown up today. I'm gonna be a grown. I'm gonna use my other vote.
We'll save it for Christmas. That's a more appropriate day for us to curse at each other.
I'm not gonna be a grown up.
We'll come back to it. We'll talk more before we wrap up. But I got like 3 guys that I just want to talk about how great they are. I don't think there's really much to be said other than just let's give them their love. We glossed over Isaiah Likely. It's funny because when Ken was on first, he said, maybe an ill-advised throw for Lamar. I went back and looked at the dots because we don't have the all-22 yet, right? So I went back and looked at the dots on that play. I have actually come around to it was the best decision that Lamar could make on that play. Yeah. Like, I have come around to the only other option was maybe he could have seen that Gus was cutting back to the middle at that point, but it would have been asking a lot for him to see that in that last moment before he was coming down. I thought in the end, his best option was let me go give Isaiah Likely a chance, right? Because at the point, if he would have gotten sacked, that would have been like a 12 to 13 yard loss on that play.
Glenn, you know what the thing is, though, is that people forget is that Lamar's been throwing a football his whole life. The way that quarterbacks place footballs, it's not on accident. Isaiah Likely is 6'4". He's going against DBs that got they're backpedaling. He's coming back to the ball. He's going vertical. Lamar put the ball in a place where the person most likely to catch it was the guy that caught it. That was not on accident. It was calculated. And I know it's hard for some people to wrap their head around that. It was the right play at the right time. And guess what? If it would have went sideways, it would have went sideways. But it worked. And he's made throws like this all season in tight windows to the right guy in the right place. PFF has a statistic called turnover-worthy plays. I hope to God they don't put that in the turnover-worthy category because of the ball placement. Had Isaiah, there was a throw today, and I think it was in the Houston game today. That should have been an interception, but the tight end fought for that ball from the safety and took it away from him as they were going to the ground. That was a turnover-worthy play. Isaiah jumped and high-pointed that ball. He's the only one that caught it. He wasn't like he was fighting for the ball on the ground. I thought that was one of the best throws Lamar's ever made, especially under the circumstances, based on the game and the potential ramifications of losing the game. Anyway, I'll stop there.
No, but
you know what makes that impressive too? And correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but it appears that he's throwing across his body to it.
Definitely from his back foot too.
And definitely right. And he's not planting and he's not stepping into the throw. So that to me is what makes it even more impressive that it ended up being the way that it ended up. But like you said, like those two things, and he still put it at a high point where
the trajectory.
Right. Where it's probably an incomplete pass and they run into each other, the defenders. That to me was just it was very, very impressive. That's all I wanted to add.
I add to it that, again, I'm only working off the dots because we just don't have the full video yet. We won't have it until Tuesday. The way it looks worse to me than I think it was because the safety that was on Flowers did an incredible job of getting back to get that doubled. I mean, an unbelievable job of covering that space to make it close. And to the point where when he released it, you kind of looked over and said, oh, he should have just thrown it to Flowers on the left. Flowers was totally covered. I mean, he was utterly and completely covered on that play. When Lamar releases that ball, I have come around. And the other side of it is, we all sat here when Mark Andrews got hurt and we had a very dejected conversation. And it sounded, somewhat like with the conversation we're having with Keaton Mitchell, other than I think it was even more important to this team losing a Mark Andrews. But what Isaiah Likely has done over the last couple of weeks, I'm not trying to say he's Mark Andrews because you can't become that guy in 3 weeks. But Jesus, we have to recognize how quickly Isaiah Likely has stepped up and played at an extraordinarily high level.
Agreed.
I have nothing to add to that. Yeah. I mean, he's just been phenomenal. He's been phenomenal.
Yeah, I've had so many people texting me about Isaiah Likely. They're like, well, how come he doesn't always do that? I'm like, he hasn't had to. He hasn't been given the opportunity. But remember last year against New Orleans when Andrews was hurt, what Isaiah do? He balled.
And he scored. He had a touchdown.
Yeah, exactly. So it's in his DNA. He can do it. And remember, if you go back and watch his play at Coastal Carolina, dude was different. You know what I mean? And I watched him coming out of college. I saw him. I was like, this dude is special. He's a unique athlete because he's a little bendier and a little more elusive than he looks. Because he's not a small person. He's a pretty big human, you know. But damn, he's just a hell of a football player and really good at catching the football and doing something with it. He had a dude holding on to his leg, and he made a dude miss, and then got like an extra yard and a half,
and nearly got the first down. I know exactly the play you're talking about. Yeah,
that self-awareness and that body control, like that's different. That's not normal stuff.
And shout out to Charlie Kolar too, getting some burn too.
Yes, Charlie played good.
Yeah. You know, KZ, I think, were you the one that was that comped him to like the body type and his hands of Andrews?
I did.
Was it
I
you?
did. When they drafted him, he was, to me, he was a clone, a little bit bigger, but runs very similar, hands very similar, route running. And one of the things that, like Glenn was saying, and Femi, what with that tush push with him, Andrews has done that his whole career.
Yeah, you're right.
And to me, when I saw Kohler there, I was like, "Yep, that makes sense to me." And he's such what's he 6'6", 250, something like that. I mean, he's a big boy. But the hands catch on that seam throw, that's a special guy that they will start using more and more. And I love the combination with him and Likely outside at the same time. One with a little, skinny post, one with more of an in on the touchdown pass to Likely. I thought that was really nice.
Yeah, I like that. I thought that was great too. And obviously that came right after the 15-yard penalty. And that was a big spot. That sort of, it not only made up for the penalty, but I thought it was a big, to your point about commitment, Femi, to handle adversity the way they did in that moment of being pushed back. It's sort of like what we talked about in the sequence after 3rd and 17 a week ago, right? Like here we are, you're facing that, and that was how they responded one play later. Agreed. With that big touchdown play. Just a couple other guys I wanted to shout out. We mentioned, Josh mentioned the pressure. Justin Madubuike gets the record tonight with his 11th game with at least a half a sack. It should have been 2 because the one goes down as an intentional grounding instead of a sack. Femi, you and I are together on this. The guy who forces that should be credited with the sack in that spot.
Exactly.
It feels like a really dumb thing that the NFL should fix at some point in record keeping because you're kind of stealing money away from guys.
Dude, hey Glenn, you took the words out of my mouth. You're stealing money from guys right there. Yep. That's some bullshit. How about that?
No, I'm with it. That's absolutely something they should fix, but I can only say so many good things. And then I thought it was a nice bounce back from Marlon Humphrey tonight. I thought, he hadn't played his best football in the last couple of weeks, and I thought he had a really nice bounce back game tonight.
Glenn, Brandon Stevens, man. Let's give that man some credit. He's been doing it all effing year.
Really weak.
No one talks about it.
The PI call on him was bogus.
Terrible.
Oh, that was bogus. Yeah,
some of these PI calls today, like what game was it today? I think it was the New England Kansas City game. They called a holding call on a turnover. New England got the ball back, and I watched that video like 5 times. I'm like, I didn't see a damn thing. Like these refs need to. Yeah.
If you would like to know what Femi is thinking, you can always search refs in my Twitter page because I use all the expletives that Femi would like to use. I did it on my timeline, so you didn't have to, Femi.
They want to be most valuable player for sure.
They want to be. Look, nobody came to see you, Otis. Nobody came to see you, Otis. I do not understand why you are here.
Femi had the moment where like his mother walked into the room as he was about to say something, and he was just
trying to be a better human. You know what I'm saying?
All right, let's go to our guys. Our buddy Troy has been hanging for a minute. I'll go to him first. What's up, Troy? How you doing, pal? You got to hit up.
People, how y'all?
What's up, buddy?
Great win, playoff bound. Still want the 1 seed. Let me put this out there. Justin Matabuke deserves all-pro first team, second team, no doubt about it. The dude's been playing all out this year. I don't understand the disrespect towards him. First team, all-pro, Pro Bowl selection, no doubt. It was just a game of Jacksonville mistakes all over the field tonight. Like the drop, the run Lawrence had, it was a stupid thing at the end of the first half. I'm like, what is they doing? I'm like, you had time to at least get a score. And I'm like, oh, they had time. Okay. But the Ravens got out of there. They got out of the win. They're healthy. I hate that King Mitchell got hurt. That's just a bummer.
There's no getting around it. It sucks, man. There's no getting around that part of it. Troy, appreciate you, brother.
And they've already said that Melvin Gordon will be brought to the active roster as a result. So.
Okay. I got, the funny thing is when he played earlier this year, he actually
played good.
He looked okay.
In the back of our heads, we all know we just sitting there like, please just hold on to the ball.
But Reeta, you know what, Reeta? I think Justice has turned the corner. I like what he did tonight, and I like what he's been doing quietly. Like I never give up on anybody. I'm gonna be hard on you, but I'm gonna love you and hug you too, and tell you like I believe in people. Like he's on that roster for a reason. And I'm gonna critique a mistake, but I never doubt his explosiveness, and I never doubt his commitment to pass protection, and I never doubt his commitment to special teams play. And he's fast. I mean, he's not Keaton Mitchell fast, but he's pretty damn elusive too, though. Keaton is just special, different. You know what I'm saying?
I think we would all agree he played well, with the exception of the mesh point stuff. Like other than that, he played.
No, but he's fumbled the ball in open field too.
Right.
Yeah, I think the Steelers game that he fumbled in the Steelers.
But let's not talk about let's not bring up old stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, I mean, I'm just adding to your point. I'm just making.
I'm the first one to say something, but I'm gonna let that go though because we're past that now.
We are.
We're about to be in. So I grew up in the Bay. Like I grew up a Niners fan. You know what I mean? And so what's crazy to me is when people realize, like, yeah, I know I grew up in Santa Cruz and I grew up a Niners fan, but y'all realize I played for the Ravens though. Like I don't give a damn about the Niners. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit what they do. I don't care. They're irrelevant to me.
The best.
I live in Baltimore.
That's who you are.
What are we talking about?
I love it.
I don't give a damn about them. I hope they get their ass kicked. Let's go.
Group hug to Femi right now. Group hug to Femi, everybody. Get their hands together.
There we go, buddy.
Let's go.
I want to introduce you guys to our friend Randy Morgan. Randy this season has been our unofficial ombudsman. And during the show, he actually hits me up on Twitter to let me know when we were all like our memory, we were trying to jog it on a certain play, like what had happened. He is right there to jog my memory and let me know. And Randy and I have disagreed about plenty of things over the years, but I've appreciated Randy's voice. What's going on, pal? What have we gotten wrong tonight? What have we screwed up so far?
I think we're good. I think we're good tonight. I'm glad I can be that voice.
I have appreciated it. I have, and I've given you credit.
Randy, can I give you my number so you can check me if I get some statistics wrong? You hit your boy up.
Sure, I'll follow you on Twitter.
Thank you.
Well, happy Festivus. We're in, right? We want to get one seed.
Yes.
No, I mean, the thing that stuck out to me was this was the second game in a row where our defense adjusted at halftime, and really, I know, we gave up 7 in the second half, 0 in the first half, but really the defense was better in the second half. Jacksonville, they gave us 9 points in the first half, with poor decision making. So that's encouraging to see after, we've had some of the collapses earlier in the season. So hopefully we can continue that. Keaton, obviously that's terrible. I hope he can be back, next year. Hopefully it's not, something that goes far into next year because he's going to be important for next year's team, given, the status of some other guys.
Yeah.
And then looking forward to next week, so Ronnie's in the concussion protocol, which probably means he's out. So I kind of hope that our focus is keeping Lamar upright next week with Bosa and Young on the outside because, Walker and Allen gave us a lot of trouble tonight. So, and going back to that likely play, that reminded me of the Eli Manning play in the Super Bowl a lot.
The David Tyree play.
Yeah. Get the way he got out of the sack and then threw it up, the high point it and everything. Yeah. So
I get why everybody was sort of reacting it the way they were, but the more I've looked at it, the more I've convinced myself, like Femi said, I think that was
it was the right play. I rewound it in real time. I was like,
it was a little bit of a no, yes.
Right.
Well, no, I think Reeta was right. I mean, he was off his back foot across his body, but Lamar, Lamar's different, and Aaron Rodgers is different. Some of these guys, like they just don't follow the rules when it comes to that. They're the best in the world. They're allowed to break the rules. They're Neo in the Matrix. You know what I'm saying? They're not Agent Smith. They do what they need to do. They bend the rules, they break them, they do what they need to do. And obviously, and Randy, to your point, real quick, you said something that I thought was really important. The offensive tackles struggled tonight. They both struggled.
Boy, they did. Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? And the minute that we decided, the Ravens have a way of systematically breaking you down. And that's why all those run plays were working in the second half. We need to come out against the Niners. And if it's ugly early, because remember when they came here a couple years ago, we played them in the rain. We beat them, I think, like maybe the game was like 13-3 or 13-6. I don't know. It was a low scoring type game. You know what I mean? And
I think we won by like just a few, I think, right? It was a field goal.
I think
thought it was
9-6.
Wasn't that the 9-6 game?
No, we beat the Niners here a couple years ago.
The 2019 season. The 2019.
It was 20-17.
Yeah, and they kicked the field goal as the time expired.
So so my point is though is that we need to go into San Francisco, and I think my point is Randy alluded to something, and I think Troy did too. It's not that game. Oh, actually, Andrew said the same thing, and you all are saying similar things, and I'm gonna stitch the whole thing together. That this game is like a specialty game. It's like a WWE, like Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant, like specialty thing. Like it really is. Like at the end of the day, we need to win the AFC, and I know all the wins count, but we're going into enemy territory against an NFC team that doesn't really know us. We just need to commit to running the football and protecting Lamar. Like we don't need to get cute. We don't need to do anything special. We just go out there and play basic head hunting, hit you in the mouth, 2 yards in a cloud of dust football, and play action that thing. And like, let's not get carried away. And I'm wondering, and this thing, I'm not in the building. I don't know like what the mindset is for that game. And yes, if you win the game, it is a win in regard to like overall win totals. But the most important thing is to come out of that game. No doubt, you don't go in there half stepping for sure. You play power football and you protect your quarterback. That's what I'm saying. Chipping, linemen chipping on their, tight ends helping linemen chipping on their way out. One of the most impressive plays in football that is used by every single team, but very rarely detailed, is the tight end that chips with the tackle and then has that little delayed drag route. Travis Kelce does it all the time.
Yeah,
Evan Ingram does it all the time.
That's his favorite thing.
That play all day, because everyone's dropping back, too deep coverage, and the middle of the field is wide open. It's like 7, 8, 9, 10 yards. And if you have an Isaiah Likely type, a Travis Kelce type, that's not 8 yards, it's 17 yards. You know what I mean? These plays need to be embedded into the check down and the chipping part of the game next week. And it's part of the system. Like, I know they do this already, but to me, I'm going to be really looking for that next week. I'm going to be really looking at the run and how the Ravens are run pass, the balance of run pass and the support or helping of the tackles, and making sure that Lamar is protected. That's what I'm going to be looking for against San Francisco.
I tweeted that too. Real quick, Josh, I tweeted this earlier. I said, y'all going to have to do the same thing next week. What you did today, you're going to have to find a way to do it next week, because you got two same guys. I mean, well, not the same. These are better guys.
Yeah.
You got better players now, right? Josh Allen and Trey Walker, fine. But now they got Bosa, and now they got Young. But you got to do the same. You got to do the same thing that you did last week. Your wide receivers might not love it, and it is what it is. But do you want to win the football game, right? Do you want to win? You're gonna have to use your tight ends. You're gonna have to use your running backs. You're gonna have to chip, and that's how I see them winning this game next week. Josh, back to you.
No, I just, one thing I'd say is, the pass to Likely. One thing that struck with me about that too, and I had the same sort of jittery feeling as he was throwing it, like, oh no. But then when I watched it and I rewinded it, it's also showed the trust that he's developing with Likely, which is huge, right? The fact that he was saying, I'm going to trust that my guy's going to get up and get this ball. I'm going to put it up high for him, was a really big step in their development and their relationship that clearly him and Andrews have in spades. The second thing is, for next week, just to go back to the WWE, to that one Jacksonville guy who flopped, which was really good. I had to give him respect for the acting. But I'm going to go Lou Albano with a foreign object coming in the ring next week. we have to we've got a couple, like last year I was saying, or 2 years ago, like we've got a bunch of rock stars on this team now. And for a while we were maybe lacking that. We had a couple, and now we've got a bunch. And as much as I think San Francisco is a notch above everybody in this league, like I don't put it past our guys. They're gonna go out there and they're gonna play hard. They really are. And I'm excited to that game, because I think the best thing that the schedule has given us is it's given us a playoff game every step of the way. This team is going to be so ready when they come to the playoffs, right? I'm not scared of Miami. Miami hasn't played anybody. I think we beat Pittsburgh at the end of the year. This game next week is the game. Like, San Francisco is the gold standard right now in the NFL. And I know our guys know that. And so I think it's an exciting opportunity for the guys to show us who they are before we get to the playoffs. They're going to be really battle tested before, and that's a good thing for us, I think.
And Josh, you know what? I think we've beaten the Niners the last 4 times we played them. I think. Hey, Randy, can you check me on that?
Yeah, Randy's gonna go get on top of that one for us.
So.
Troy wanted to get back in. Troy, real quick.
Real quick, and I think if we do win next week, it's going to be this like little respect factor amongst the league, because everybody's been saying the Niners are this, the Niners are that. Like, I still think we're just as equal, if not a little bit better, in my opinion. Like, if we win next week, that respect factor is going to go up a little bit on the league, because, like, they beat the Niners. Okay. Yeah. Like, okay. Fine. All right. Respect.
Hey, Troy, you know what, though? I'm pretty sure most people are not going to pick us, but I like Josh and I were talking about this. I love it when we are the dog. I love it when we're counted out, because that's who we are. Mm-hmm. We always do better in those circumstances.
And if I'm lying, I'll say that, Femi, during the 2012 Super Bowl run, it's just starting to feel like this Super Bowl run in 2012. Like, every passing team, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Colin Kaepernick, beat them all, got to a towel. Come on, man.
Appreciate you, bro. Real quick. So I was trying to check to see if we had a line yet, because I do think the Ravens will be, to Femi, your point, I think they'll be dogs on Monday.
Probably -3.
Not yet at Superbook, but when it's up, use the code GlennClark23 and you'll get up to $250 in a same-day first bet match, win or lose, from Superbook.com or the Superbook app. And right now, tomorrow night, the Eagles are 3-point favorites on the road in Seattle. Jalen Hurts was a little sick earlier today, but apparently he is good to go for tomorrow night's game. Again, Superbook.com or the Superbook app. Use the code GlennClark23 when you sign up. Josh, you just said something, and it struck me, because there's a name we haven't even brought up yet. But, Josh, what you said about the dog, let's go back a year and 2 months ago. I don't know that we knew that there was a true defensive superstar on this roster at that point. It struck me tonight, and the name we haven't even brought up tonight, because most of his impactful plays were early on in the game. Kyle Hamilton, right? Who early on in the game was on one. I mean, was just special. And in the span of a year and 2 months, we've gone from not knowing if there was one really legitimate superstar on the defensive side of the ball to, I believe, having one at every level of the defense now.
Agreed.
Between Matabike, Roquan, and Kyle Hamilton, it's gone from
Queen. And
I don't want to take anything away, I'm not trying to take anything away from any other guy on the team, but like true star of stars, defensive superstars. Genuinely believe there's one at every level now on this roster.
At least. And Marlon Humphrey is very respected in this league.
100%.
Jadeveon Clowney is very respected.
And has had a really nice season.
And Brandon Stevens quietly is making a case like, hey, I'm telling you, I watched Brandon Stevens. Hey, as we say, I F's with Brandon Stevens. You know what I'm saying? Hey, for real. Hey, that dude, I'm going to tell you right now, in my opinion, he's the most improved player on that team and the unsung hero. When everybody was hurt and down, this dude was playing safety. He was playing nickel. He's playing corner. He never complained, he just kept getting better. Remember, UCLA, and I'm a West Coast guy, so I pay attention to all the cats from the West Coast. He played running back. He played safety. He played linebacker, and he played corner.
Can I ask you guys, the X and O guys, that I'm just a fan, like our run D, which has been so stout, like the last couple games, like what's going on? Like, you guys that know it, Femi, you play, and Ken, I mean, all you guys that that know all the X's and O's. Like, what's happening here? Why are we getting gashed so much? Like, that's
Yes.
concerning to me going forward.
Well, it started with the Cleveland game, but let me take it back. It started with the Indianapolis game when Zach Moss us. Remember
Zach
that?
Moss, yep.
So yeah. I think this is. I don't have a very clear answer for this, but sometimes when the linemen get double teamed, the goal of the interior lineman is to eat that double team up to free up the linebacker. But sometimes they get double teamed, they get off their track, and then that lineman comes off on the linebacker. Most interior runs, that's the issue. But remember early on when I was talking about the edge being sealed and guys getting thirsty and going inside? Earlier in the year, it was the edges that were the problem. In my opinion, right now, it's the interior that's the issue. You know what I mean?
Right.
And the thing is that because the Ravens are so good at pass defense, luckily, when a team runs the ball, it forces them to matriculate the ball down the field without making mistakes. And as you guys know, the team that makes the least mistakes wins, right? Now, unfortunately, Cleveland was able to do it. And Cleveland to me is a problem. I'm not going to talk about them right now. We'll get back to them later. But the Rams had no business doing what they did to us after the bye week, in my opinion. You know what I mean? And it kind of carried over a little bit into the first half of this game. But the second half of this game, hey, that shit was all shut down. None of that happened. To me, it's about attention to detail. It's not about skill. It's not about ability. It's about just paying attention and being on task, right? Commitment versus discipline. This is a discipline issue, not a commitment issue. And I anticipate that run stuff, CMC is really going to test that stuff next week now.
Yes,
CMC's no joke. He's no punk now. You know what I mean? We're talking about one of the best running backs in the NFL with one of the best lines in the NFL. So I'm looking forward to this matchup. We're really going to see about run defense this next week.
All right, Randy's done the research. He has your answer on the 49ers, Femi.
Apparently, we're 3-1 in the Harbaugh era. In the regular season, obviously 1-0 in the playoffs.
Okay, so we've won 4 of the last 5 then.
Yeah, we lost in 2015.
Okay,
that was Joe Flacco not playing game, if I remember correctly.
That might be right. We only lost 25-20.
Well, yeah, because he went out with that's the year he went out with a knee injury, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So
somebody just texted me asking me, "Is Troy? Are you in bed? What's going on with you, man? You sleeping? What's up, bro?"
He laying down like KZ.
Troy's laying down like he's talking to one of his friends.
No, but that's how KZ lays every single week. KZ has laid back look.
I'm just chilled on the couch though.
Hey,
hang on though.
Tell you on the couch.
Thank you.
Hey Glenn, can I ask KZ one question?
By all means.
KZ, are you happy?
I am happy.
Okay.
I am happy. I have a non-Ravens
Hey,
question
KZ, you
for
know
everybody.
I love you, right, brother? You know I love you, right?
Hey, it's all love, Femi. It's all love, Femi. At the end,
You
of the
should
day,
have. You missed his opening rant though. Like his opening rant
I
was
don't even want to hear it.
Glenn, hold on. Glenn, go back and listen to it.
It was so.
I was mellow because it was really difficult with the Keaton Mitchell thing. It just hurt me to my core. And I felt so bad. If you go back and listen to what Femi came in and said, and what I came in and said, we said the same thing. The tackles were a problem in the first half. The run defense was a problem in the first half. All I was saying is that it was and I started with, again, they went to Jacksonville on the road and dominated a team that is leading their division. I'm happy about it, but let's not pretend that there weren't problems in that first half. They were outplayed in the first half tonight, and Jacksonville just couldn't get out of their own way. That was my only point with it.
Whoa. The Ravens couldn't get out of their own way either, though. So, I mean, like...
Well, no, but what I'm saying is, but you made the point, Femi.
Yeah, no,
they were inside the 40 4 times and came away with 0 points. That's all I was saying. Like, they were... The Ravens really weren't stopping them. Jacksonville was kind of stopping themselves to a degree with the 2 missed field goals, with whatever happened at the end of the first half. They kind of stopped. Yeah. They kind of stopped themselves. And the second half, the adjustments were made. They shut down the run game. They started to get pressure. Okay, and everything was good. Can I ask a non-Ravens question?
Sure.
Because you all watched football all day, I'll assume.
Yes, I watched every game for sure.
Keep the Bills out of the playoffs. Just we got to keep the Bills out of the effing
this
playoffs.
has nothing to do with it because Femi was going off about the refs, and here was the funniest thing about the refs today. Because after what happened last week with the offensive offsides, that they told the referees to call it in every game.
There were a few more.
I have never seen in my life.
Daisy, you're right. I saw like
so
10 of them
many
today.
offensive offsides called in a week because it had never. I never remember it being called.
Yeah, they have to be right.
Yep.
Because it happened the next night. Remember, it happened in
I know, but it was
the Monday night game, and
today.
they didn't call it. So they kind of had to play on.
Rita, they called one today that I swear to God, this dude might have been off. Like, I needed to see, like, you know how they have
his big toe. I know which one you're talking about.
Kevin Durant on the line.
Like,
but it was so funny because it's like and they just caught. I was watching in the 1 o'clock games. They must have caught it 5 times.
It was
5 different games.
It's terrible. I'm so glad I'm not in the league right now. Well, first of all, I'd love to be in the league right now. I'm just talking about
the money's good. Yeah,
the money's great. And life is great. Like I love the Haagen-Dazs bars on the plane too. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, my point though is that like it's just wild to me that the relationship as a player that I had with the refs, they would pull me aside and be like, "Hey, 30, like, you were on the outside that time. Just be careful. If you do it again, I'm have to call you. Hey, you lined up in the slot and nobody was on the ball. Like, just they usually give you one pass. Like, I don't know why they got so draconian. Like, what? Like, these dudes are zero fun. Like zero, like prompting and just conversation about stuff. They're affecting like outcomes. Like, dude. It doesn't. You like the thing that you're doing. You shouldn't be calling it. It has no influence or effect on the play. Now I get it. It has effect on the play. Then you got to you got to throw the flag. I get it. But these are like these are things that are inane, like non-relevant things. It really bothers me. And what Pat Mahomes did last week was a little over the top.
Way over the top.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Well, you've seen his wife, right? She's a little over the top too. Right? But
a little over the top.
And my point is though is that his response was about other stuff. It wasn't really about.
Yeah. He's pissed at his receiver.
But the thing is, I understand what he was trying to say. But yeah, I mean, the refs they got their thumb on the scale for real. It's getting out of hand.
All right. I think we've covered everything that we needed to cover tonight, except for I need to remind everybody 2 things. First of all, Tyus Bowser show Tuesday night. Hamilton Sports Bar and Grill. Please come join us. The other thing is this is a personal thing for me. I am hosting an event tomorrow night or Monday night. I guess it's Monday by now. Monday night. Look, Josh Charles wants to show off his fantasy football championship trophy.
This is just for Ken. I'm doing this just for Ken. I wanted Ken to see this because I wanted him to be proud of me.
Wow.
I am proud of you.
That's it. All right. I just wanted you to see
that. But what year does that say on it, Josh? Josh, what year does that?
I haven't played since my son was born. I had to get out of it because I was too obsessed with it. So I've gotten out. But this is I keep this with me. I couldn't find it. I wanted Ken to see it.
There you go. Tomorrow night, Monday night, I'm going to be at Chick-fil-A Nottingham Square, 5198 Campbell Boulevard. It's not the one in the White Marsh Mall. It's the one over by Target. And Michael Pierce is coming to hang out. And the reason why we're doing it is because anyone who brings out $25 worth of donations, either items or cash, for the Helping Up mission. We need toiletries. We need underwear. We need bare necessity items. For the men and women that are trying to lift themselves up at Helping Up mission, you bring out $25 worth or $25 in cash or Venmo or PayPal, and you can get a picture and autograph with Michael Pierce, who's having a hell of a season this year for the Baltimore Ravens, and was just kind enough to come out on a Monday night, said, I just want to come out and do it to help Helping Up, and that was a wonderful thing that he would do. So please come out and hang out with us Monday night, 5198 Campbell Boulevard, Chick-fil-A Nottingham Square. Bring donations, bring, toothbrushes, toothpaste, razor blades, deodorant. Go buy some Fruit of the Loom and bring them over. That's what we need. Legitimately, that's what we need for Helping Up mission.
Razors, not razor blades.
Thank you. We need actually. You know what? They actually need both. Femi.
Okay.
That's legit. Straight shoot. They're both on the list. They're both on the list of things they need.
Hey, Glenn. Real quickly, smartass PressBox producer, whoever that is, Who is that?
It's John Colson tonight, actually. John Colson.
When you throw the flag, how do you know if the player will affect the play in advance? LOL. Come on, let's use common sense. If the dude is a receiver lined up on the left side and he's off the ball or not on the ball, and a ball is completed on the other side of the field, that dude has no effect on the play. If you're playing defense and the defender is holding a guy or sort of bumps a guy, but the ball's thrown across the field, you shouldn't call holding on a dude who's not involved in the play, especially if it's questionable. You don't call that. It has no effect on the play. The dudes playing the ball are over here. So if the person who's being called for a foul is not involved in the play, Mr. Producer, that's how you know. How's that?
Femi's all in one tonight. Oh man!
I want John to show his face. I want to see John.
We might have to arrange a meeting. You know, Femi, we're actually. Oh, there he is. There's John Colson. There's John. There's John. He was.
I'm just messing with you, John.
Femi, we're doing. Oh, Reeta, what time are you leaving on Thursday? When are you skipping town?
Thursday.
But what time? Like in the morning or in the?
Yeah, like
damn.
Thursday.
All right, we're doing a drinking show on Thursday.
Wait, this Thursday?
Yeah, this Thursday.
Of course,
come
you
in.
always do all the cool stuff.
Stop it, Femi. You, your old buddy Jeremy.
We talked about it together.
Yeah, your old buddy Jeremy Kahn's coming in studio with us on Thursday.
That's my guy. That's my dude.
Why don't you come in and do some drinking with us on Thursday? Have some fun.
You know what? How about this? Let's pencil me in.
Done. I love this. This is gonna be a day. We're gonna have a day.
Hey, listen, all is love and fair in war. I just want John to be able to retort. I want John to be able to talk back and talk shit to me too. Come on, John.
Pencil you in? Just come in. It's not like you're that busy. Come on, dude.
Well, no, I'm just saying.
Come on, pencil me in. I don't know what I'll be doing on Thursday.
Hey, John, you don't know my calendar, brother. You don't know what I got going on.
That's the person that clicks interested on Facebook. That's what that is. That's the person that's leaving their options open, Reeta. All right, so I want to thank everybody for hanging out with us tonight. It's been a late night, but a big win for the Ravens. We will be together on Christmas night.
Ooh, I like that.
You like my hat?
I love that. I love that.
It's my Christmas hat that I will be wearing.
Yeah, Rita's
for the game.
Going out. Femi, are you going out?
When?
For the game? Are you headed? I know it's your home.
I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna be here with my kids. And
okay. We're taking a family Christmas trip.
You know what's so funny, Reeta? I thought about let's all go celebrate Christmas and I grew up in the area. Like I know I got connects. I can get tickets and everything. My kids are, I was like, you know what? Forget all that. We're just gonna be here. We'll just be here. We'll chill. Like I tried to make a whole production out of it, and nobody was cooperating.
They weren't having it. We will be together on Christmas night. Reeta will chime in after the game, and we'll all hang out after a day of celebrating.
And I will be. My hat will. Hopefully, it still works.
I can't promise you what kind of state of mind I'm gonna be that night, though.
Me either.
All rules are off. It's Christmas. All rules are off.
John, Femi, I don't know.
All kinds of stuff is going down.
All depends.
It's the way it's gonna be.
So, John, I'm gonna be cussing my you know what off that night. I'm kidding.
Cuss away.
Cuss away. All
right. Love you guys. We will see you next Monday. This has been PressBox's Project Game Day.